Today we are going to see a very well-known company. We are going to analyze the performance of a very well-known company in India in the FMCG and personal care space. So this company is third in the list of FMCG and personal care space in terms of the net profit earned year on year. So in the last year, that is 2022, the net profit earned was to a tune of 1700 plus crores of rupees, and it is third in the list of FMCG and personal care companies. That is none other than Dabur Limited. So we are going to see 7 aspects, and as Peter Lynch says, before we invest into any company, we need to understand what the company does, what are different products they deal with, how is its revenue distribution, where the presence across the globe. And of course, we are going to also see the profit and loss aspect. We're going to see the balance sheet aspect, how strong is the financial stability of the company, how strong is the profitability of the company, and how strong is the cash flow of the company before we decide upon the final aspect, which is the valuations of the company. So before I discuss further about this specific company, all these aspects, all these 7 aspects, please share and subscribe to your friends and relatives so they can also get an understanding about this specific company, Dabur Limited, what the kind of product they deal with. You may be knowing some product, but you may not be aware about the new launches. So stay tuned to see what are the new launches and also understand how the profit has grown with respect to the cash flow profits, how we can compare both of these, and the financial stability of the company. And finally, we will see the valuation, whether it's worthwhile to invest today, yes or no. Okay, on the screen, we are going to cover 7 aspects, and these are the 7 aspects we are going to cover. The first aspect being who are its founders and what does Dabur do. And then we are also going to see the presence across the globe. Where all across the globe is it present? Is it present only in India? Is it present in other parts of the world? And where all in other parts of the world in terms of category is it present? And then we are also going to see the business segments. And each of this business segment, what are the percentage of revenue derives from each of this segment? That is also what we are going to see. And we are also going to see the fourth aspect, which is the power brands. Power brands which defines Dabur. The power brands which define Dabur in every consumer's mind. We are going to see what are those power brands in today's world. And then we are also going to see what are the new launches, what are the new spaces which Dabur is actually trying to diversify itself to build its profitability and revenue space. And then finally, we are also going to see the financial metrics on the 6th and the 7th, that is the valuation. Both of these go hand in hand. We are going to see how the profit has grown over the past 10 years. We are going to see how the balance sheet, the financial stability has grown for the shareholders for the past 10 years, and also the cash flow. So let us see the first thing, which is who are its founders. Dabur was founded back in the year 1884 by S.K. Burman. S.K. Burman is no longer along with us. He demised in the year 1907. But back then in 1884, his aim was to promote or produce and dispense Ayurvedic medicine which uses the Vedic and the ancient Indian culture into its business practices, so it produces effective cure against the diseases. Back then, the diseases were cholera and malaria. And not only was it effective against the disease, but also made it affordable to the vast public of the Indian nation. And once it establishes its presence, it establishes its footprint in the nation, it then took on Dabur footprint across the globe as well. So that was S.K. Burman to you, who spearheaded Dabur back in 1884. And since then it has been almost about 4 or 5 generations. And today it is Amit Burman and Mohit Burman who are holding the reins of the company. They are the heirs to Dabur Limited. So let us see a brief about Amit Burman and Mohit Burman. In fact, Amit Burman is the vice chairman of Dabur. He took on the chairman post in the year 1999, then stepped down from his chairman post back in 2007. And today he is the vice chairman. Whilst today, Mohit Burman is the chairman of the company who took over the reins of the company back in 2007 or 2008 around. So under the leadership of Amit Burman, Dabur actually forayed into ethnic cooking, chutneys and packaged food juices. He was the driving force behind ethnic cooking, chutneys and packaged fruit juices. Then Mohit Burman, once Mohit Burman, who is the son of Vivek and Monica Burman, he is the driving force today where Dabur has now forayed into life insurance, agriculture, retail, as well as home care businesses. So that is Mohit Burman to you. So these are the two founders today, Amit Burman and Mohit Burman, who are the driving force behind Dabur, who are handling each individual aspects of the business segment. Dabur, in fact, as we see on the screen as well, Dabur is about using the Vedic as well as the ancient Indian practices into his business practices. So whatever it produces, it needs to make sure that it is effective cure when it is a medicine, or if it is a food product, it makes sure that it builds your immunity. That is the intention of Dabur. That is the aim of Dabur, to use the Vedic culture in its food practices. And not only that much, but even the other aspects which is catering towards personal care or home care, it uses these cultures so that they are effective and not harming the environment. It needs to take care about the environment as well. So that's the reason it uses the old cultures, the old Vedic practices, the ancient practices of Ayurveda, and brings it into its business practices so that they are effective as well as affordable as well. So now that brings us to the second topic. The second topic which we are going to cover, as you see, is about where all is it present in the globe, where all Dabur is present across in the globe today. As we see on the screen, Dabur is present almost across 5 geographies. The largest geography where it derives its revenue is from West Asia. West Asia contributes about 32% of its revenue. And then subsequently, Asia contributes about 17% of the revenue, followed by, we have Africa, which contributes about 23% of the revenue. And then you have America, 16%, and then Europe, 12% of its revenue comes from Europe. Where all is it present? Across the globe. It has not left any part of the globe waiting for itself now. And of course, it has to build that geography further on, expand its business there, so that it can foray much more products, much more new launches into those specific continents or specific geographies. Next aspect which you are going to see is you are going to see the business as well as the revenue segment. What are the different business segments of Dabur? So 3 major business segments, but as you see on the screen, there are majorly about 5 categories which Dabur has divided its businesses into. But nevertheless, there are 3 major categories. The 3 major categories comes under home and personal care, which is almost 34%. That is the first category. And the second category is about healthcare, which is 26%. And then food and beverages, almost about 12% of its revenue comes from food and beverages. Then after that, in the international market, where it deals with all personal care as well as food and beverages as well as healthcare, from the international market, it derives almost about 26% of this revenue. And then others we have, so that is contributes about 2% of the revenue. So that's with respect to business segment and revenue share in each of the business segment. So now let us see the next aspect, which is the power brand. What is power brand which defines Dabur? What are the brands which takes up the space of the consumer mind? And every time whenever it thinks about honey or whenever it thinks about Chyawanprash, it thinks about Dabur. So let us see what is power brand. You see on the screen, the foremost power brand is Chyawanprash. Dabur Chyawanprash will build the immunity of your system. Back in the pandemic, it was very commonly used. And if you see the CAGR, the 2-year CAGR is 31.6%, phenomenal. It did take a good advantage of the pandemic. In fact, it is effective against the COVID-19. It builds the immunity so that it can fight the COVID-19 disease. And then it has honey. Honey has contributed 19.1% CAGR in the past 2 years. It has increased market share as well, Dabur honey. And then it have Purin Hara, which is effective against stomach aches. And then you have cough remedies, that is Honitus. Honitus, amazing 53.1% growth in the fiscal year 2022. Isn't it phenomenal? The other set of power brands is Vatika. So Vatika in this international market is 78% sales from the international market. in this overseas market. And then you have Amla hair oil, which has grown almost to the tune of 16.2% in the fiscal year 2022. And then you have Dabur Red, which has grown at an extent of 14.9% revenue in the fiscal year 2022. And then real fruit juices, fantastic, phenomenal 49.9% growth in the fiscal year 2022. But as a matter of fact, it has launched real juices which do not use preservatives, do not use sugar content. So it has made another diversification of real juices. So next, what are its new launches? What are the new businesses which Dabur is diversifying into? Its new launches, as you see, under its Fem brand, Fem as in feminine. So under its Fem brand, it sells sanitary care, sanitary napkins, and then you have like premium Vedic tea, which Dabur has now creating a space, creating a market for Vedic tea, and then followed by Bacha Masala acquisition. So it has taken over Bacha Masala and now forayed into spices, which is a 25,000 crore market share. 25,000 crore market space, which is available for Dabur to actually make its footprint into. And the more this masala space it enters, the more the revenue, the more the profit. Now let's see about our most favorite aspect. The next aspect comes is the financials of the company. The first aspect of financial is the profit and loss statement. We are going to see how much profit or how much loss the company is making. Over the past 10 years, as you see on the screen, the profit has grown to an extent to a CAGR of 10.4%. 10.4%, it may not sound that significant to you, but we'll see on further. When you talk about this profit takes into account the trade receivables, trade payables, all these aspects it takes into account, and that's how the profit is derived. But if we consider by adjusting the trade receivable, by adjusting the inventories, by actually looking at the real profit which the company has earned in its bank account, which gives us to the cash flow statement which comes up on the screen, the cash flow has grown to a significant 12%, 11.6 rounded to 12%, which is significant with respect to the other profit. So I focus more on the cash flow because cash flow is its real profit. Finally, of course, you can calculate its free cash flow after deducting the capital expenditure which it has made on its physical, tangible acquisitions. So that is the free cash flow which you can calculate. But nevertheless, its operating cash flow, which is its profit to an extent, operating profit, has grown to an extent of 12% in the past 10 years. So as you see the financial matrices, you see the sales growth has compounded over the past 10 years to about 7%, and profit growth is compounded to almost 11 to 12% as a matter of fact if you see cash flow. And then you have the stock price CAGR, which has grown to 15%, and return on equity, my friend, is phenomenal 27%. That means the shareholders' wealth year on year is growing at the rate of 27%. Now you may be wondering whether the share price is grown to 15% while its profit has compounded only 11%. How does it justify? Ideally, the profit growth and the share price growth should have been same. That this brings us to the next aspect, which is the balance sheet, the financial stability of the company. When we see the balance sheet of the company, if you see since 2012, that is 10 years gone by, that is 2003 now, its balance sheet, that is its reserves, then these reserves is the shareholders' wealth. That shareholders' wealth has grown to a tune of 18.7%. It's phenomenal. And now you should ask me, when the shareholders' wealth has grown to a tune of 18.7% for the past 10 years, its CAGR, the share price, has grown to 15%. Do you think that Dabur is actually undervalued? Do you think that Dabur is the right place to now invest your capital into? But you can do your own due diligence before you invest into Dabur. So next brings us to the valuation. If you see the chart of Dabur, today when I'm making this video, it is trading at a price of 535 rupees per share. And then that brings us to the ratios. At 535 rupees per share, it is having a price to book value. That ratio, price to book ratio, is almost to about 10 point something, which is almost a historical low. In fact, when I say historical low, whenever there has been a crash in the market, whenever there has been a significant correction in the market, that is during the pandemic or back 4 years ago, that is in 2018, it was trading at a price to book value of about 10 point something. So according to me, this book value, price to book value ratio tells me something, because the book value is actually the shareholders' wealth, and that has grown almost to a tune of 18.7% as we have seen previously. According to me, great investment opportunity for Dabur. And the lower the price it comes to, maybe around 460 also, it's worthwhile to enter into Dabur. That is according to me, but nevertheless you can do your own valuation and decide your fair price for Dabur before you want to play the game. So I hold my own bet and you hold your own bet. You can decide which ball to take. I take the ball of 535 and below. You can decide to take a ball of 500 and below. So it's every investor's choice. So make your own decision after you do your own due diligence of valuations of the particular company. Or if you're interested to understand what are the different valuations, you can contact me via the comment section. You can drop me a note and I'll be get back to you. So if you have liked this video, please like it, share, subscribe to as many people as possible, so they can also gain advantage from understanding what is Dabur all about, what are different product ranges, what are different business revenue streams which Dabur earns its revenue, and also understanding the financial aspect and the valuation aspect of Dabur. So see you in my next video, which I share almost every alternate days.